Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time for Gathering the Roll, the only news program supported by the Empire, with exciting and fantastic news from the worlds of collectible card games such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, from role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, and Shadowrun, and of course, card games and board games. Now let's start out our week, as we always do, with some collectible card games news. We have a little bit of Magic the Gathering to start out with. First off, this week, GP Vegas, the Grand Prix New Las Vegas, happening this week. This is the biggest Magic event of the year by far. It is going to be 4 days, 3 tournaments. Now granted, you could always show up on Wednesday of this week and start with your adventures there, but it's going to go from then, with tournaments starting on Thursday, going up through Sunday. There's going to be all kinds of events, the 3 tournaments, the Magic Art Show, which we talked about in discussing Tabletop, is going to be there. If you can make it out to Vegas for these events, this is the thing you want to do. This is the big Magic event. If you're going to travel to any of the Grand Prix, this is the one to do. Alright, also, it's announcement week in Magic the Gathering. Now, I'm only going to go over a few of the announcements right now that we've already heard, and it's not that far into the week, but it's going to be a big week of all kinds of announcements in Magic the Gathering. Same week as the GP Vegas, so you can understand why. Big things we've already heard. Core sets are coming back. There will no longer be any small sets. Now, all the sets that are going to come out are big sets, and those big sets, they could be a single self-contained storyline, or up to 3 big sets in a row, all with a connected storyline. You never know what you're going to get. It will depend on how well they think they can develop each of these storylines. There is a whole bunch of other little news associated with this that we all kind of will go over, but the sheer fact is, we're going to dive into these much more in discussing Tabletop. So we're going to dive into everything that we've heard so far, everything we're going to hear for the rest of the week, and I'll talk a little bit about more of these news announcements next week's Gathering the Roll, as we hear more on Announcement Week in Magic the Gathering. Let's move on to another collectible card game, though, because there is a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! News. The Maximum Crisis Special Pack is out. So this includes 3 packets of the Maximum Crisis booster packs. It also includes 1 of 2 special foil versions of cards from Maximum Crisis, and 1 of 2 foil preview cards for upcoming sets coming out later this year. So for just 1 pack, you get a special foil that's 2 of something to come, and 3 packets to it. So if you want this, you can get it now. Let's move on to some role-playing game news, though, because we have some GURPS news. GURPS Mars Attacks is out. So now you can take the sides of Mars, who's begun an invasion of Earth, or Earth to fight against them in a battle between the 2 of them. Now, granted, you can make it as deadly or as efficient, or the scope of whatever this invasion is. Make it whatever you want to. They have different rules for it. But it has a lot of the hints of both the Mars Attacks original cards and the Mars Attacks movie broken into this thing. So it's got a lot of that aesthetic to it in this special GURPS book you can get now. Finally, another RPG out. Midland Chronicles, the fantasy RPG book, is out now. At least the basic handbook is out now. So this is for Midland Chronicles, high fantasy meets supernatural horror. A little bit of Tolkien, a little bit of Lovecraft, all kinds of fun as they're mixed together. The digital version of it you can get now. The print version is not quite out yet, but you can anticipate it coming out soon. But again, if you want to get right started on it, digital version's out now. There are 10 races, 24 classes, lots of different options for your, as I said, Tolkien meets Lovecraft adventures. This is a very interesting one, which I can expect some great things of. But that's it for the news for this week. Links, of course, to any of these news stories will be in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. It's always important to share the news. If you have any questions about any of these news stories, anything related around these news stories, anything else, you could always leave in the comments below. If you have a suggestion based upon one of these news stories, or some kind of long-form discussion question, you could also leave in the comments below and let us know you want us to talk about it on Discussing Tabletop this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.twitch.tv/TantusandDracovin. You could also email us at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. Same things. It works just the same as leaving in the comments below, but maybe you just want to email us instead of, leaving it in the comments for everyone to see. depending on the question you have. But if you want to show extra support for the channel, you could always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. It's got some great rewards, and your support helps to grow and improve the channel. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.